You can tune in to the UFOs are here now, experimenting on us in our sleep. What better reason is there to get a gun than that? Come on. You've got the government conspiracy theorists going on, and a lot of what they're saying is making sense to you on some level. So you're getting kind of worked up, and you're getting kind of hyped up about this stuff, and every day, new headlines from all over the world, strange weather patterns, and hurricane Sandy? Interesting. Now I wonder if that's a coincidence. And we just carry on because it's all about what's on the news today. Oh, this travesty. Oh my God! And then people will go off for 2 or 3 days ranting about that travesty, and then, well, we're bored now. What's next on the news parade? What do we got to be pissed off about today? And you see, that generates a culture. It does. It's like forming a bacteria in a petri dish, isn't it? A culture of fear. No, we're not growing mold here for penicillin, folks. No, fear. And as that fear grows, our emotions get caught up, and heaven forbid somebody has a different opinion than us, then what do? We attack. Why do we attack? Because we're frustrated. Why are we frustrated? Because we see shit like this going down every day, and we feel helpless to stop it. Or some of you sickos out there are helpless to be involved in it because, damn, you didn't get the memo. The bottom line is, I hold the media responsible. I do. It's their fault. Got a couple of quotes for you from NBC on some of their coverage of this little mayhem. Quotes. Absolutely quotes. They can't sue me, they're quotes. One of the main anchors at NBC in New York, she says, "The availability of guns is the problem." That's right, Steve. This just in. The availability of guns is the problem. That's official from a head news anchor at NBC in New York. The availability of guns is the problem. And then you know what her co-anchor said right after that? Yes, in his infinite wisdom, he says, well, guys are getting pissed off at work, and they just go home and get their guns and just come back and take care of business. Quote. Well, you know what? I have guns, and I have bad days. I haven't done any of that. So what does that make me? Let's think about that for a second while I read an open letter from my Facebook page. This is an open letter to the anti-gun folks. The ones that say, well, if you're carrying a gun and you have an off day, you might kill someone. And yes, I have heard it, thank you. It's a lot harder to kill someone than you might think. And having a gun doesn't make reaching that decision any easier, despite what you think. This is a fact. I've been carrying a firearm every single day since March 3rd, 1996. I haven't missed a day yet. I've had a lot off, and I've had a lot of off days while carrying. I've had some of the worst days of my adult life while carrying. In fact, here are some of the things that have happened to me while carrying a firearm. I've been unjustly fired from a job. I've been in a car accident that wasn't my fault. I've had someone try to start a fight with me, and yes, I walked away from it. I came home and caught a girlfriend cheating on me. I've woken up on the wrong side of the bed. I've had a friend steal money from me and caught him doing it. And I've been cut off on the highway. And that's just to name a few. I haven't shot anyone yet. No matter what happens, the gun stays in the holster. In fact, at the police academy, they painstakingly go over handgun retention, which is what that is called. And handgun retention and all the exercises and the physical tests and the techniques, they're all designed to do one thing. Keep that gun out of anybody else's hands but mine. Even if you're a douchebag and you try to start a fight with me, I try my best to wimp out and walk away. Yes, you're right. I'm an asshole. Yes, that's right. My mother is a bitch. Whatever you say, pal. Follow me to my car and pull a knife on me, you're getting shot. Otherwise, yep, I'm the wuss that refuses to fight you. Cut me off on the highway. I might have some choice words for you, but still, the gun stays in the holster. This is called being a normal person. The presence of a firearm grants but one emotion, security. Nothing else. It's not a power trip, it's not an excuse to be a bully, and it sure as hell doesn't inspire crime or murder. The last time I checked, we were innocent until proven guilty in this country. To discriminate against normal, peaceful, law-abiding citizens that only wish to defend themselves is just as bad as another type of discrimination, or any other type of discrimination. Racial profiling and stereotyping that you tree huggers are supposedly against. And you should probably be nice to us, because someday we might be the ones that end up saving your ungrateful ass. There you go. Just give you a minute to reflect on that. Just take that in and enjoy it. That is kind of nice to get off my chest. I gotta say, that's a little bit therapeutic, and I don't even need therapy. Now we're going to go over to another Facebook friend of mine, Mike De Silva. Now, Mike and I have been friends for, well, over 2 years, longer than my gun test. And he posted something on his Facebook. Yeah, it just kind of doesn't work. He says, and this is 17 hours ago near Honolulu, Hawaii. He says, quote, "I can't believe what I'm hearing. Gun advocates, such as Larry Pratt, Executive Director of Gun Owners of America, are actually advocating more guns. More assault weapons in the hands of ordinary citizens. His argument is that arming both sides is going to give the victims a fighting chance rather than waiting," and this is his words now, I'm quoting, "rather than waiting 20 minutes for the authorities to arrive." Is this for real, he says? He can't be serious. Are we talking about an all-out shootout? Is this Tombstone, Arizona? Is this the OK Corral? So then why do we have policing? Let's just return to the Wild West days, and for justice we can meet at high noon and settle our differences in a duo. No need for courts, judges, lawyers. He says ridiculous. I'm thinking to myself, wow, that saves a lot of money. Moving on, he says, the civilized people are arguing the banning of assault weapons such as semi-automatics and tightening regulations on ownership of concealed weapons. Not an outright ban on all weapons. Take, for example, Israel, he says, a state where terrorism is a daily affair. Anyone who wishes to own a firearm must first be over the age of 21, must be an Israeli resident for more than 3 years. He or she must then go through a mental and physical health exam. He or she must pass shooting exams and courses at a licensed gun range. They must undergo background checks by the Public Security Ministry. And finally, once they have actually been allowed to order their firearm from a gun store, they're allowed to take it home with a one-time supply of 50 bullets, which they cannot renew. Additionally, the gun owner must retake this license exam and testing at the gun range every 3 years. Gun owners are also required to prove that they have a safe at home to keep their weapons in. Mike says, well, how about them apples? Well, you're probably going to unfriend me now, Mike, because I'm about to unload on you Crash Talk style. Number one, you live in Canada in addition to Hawaii, from what I am to understand. You have a house in Toronto, and just about every criteria you've listed for Israel is a criteria that's listed by the Canadian government for purchasing handguns as well, except the ridiculous, you can only have 50 bullets. No, see, in Canada, when we issue licenses to people, and they have to requalify every 3 years, and they have to go through the mental and physical exams, and they have to be yada, yada, yada. Yeah, you want a hell of a lot. You want a hell of a lot of ammo. Do you know why? Can anybody out in the audience, are you raising your hands? Do you know why you might want a heck of a lot of ammo? In fact, as much ammo as you could possibly ever get your hands on. It's to become proficient in the weapon. I don't want somebody who goes through all the little loopholes and little checks and little balances and ends up with their gun and their 50 bullets and never pulls that sucker out of the drawer. Because if and when they ever do, they're twice as dangerous as they would be if they knew what they were doing. And it's muscle memory, folks. You know, like it or lump it, you have to get used to it. You have to understand it. You have to know which way never to point it. You have to feel the rounds come out of the gun. You have to be comfortable with that gun. There's a hell of a lot more to it than just having one. But I digress. Now, when we go back to where he's talking about the Wild West days, well, let's go back to the Wild West days, shall we? We did have policing in the Wild West days. Yes, we did. We had hanging judges. We had sheriffs that weren't handcuffed by policy and bullshit. We had law enforcement officials who actually got the job done. And, you know, if you don't like the fact that, you know, Bob the shoplifter got hung at high noon in front of the town square, that's your problem. The bottom line is that there were consequences for actions, and those consequences were, in most cases in the Wild West, quite brutal. Still didn't stop crime, though, did it? No. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I think Joe Arpaio has got the right thing going on. Oh, I think we need more Arpaio in the mix. Yes, I do. Anyway, Michael, I hope I wasn't too hard on you, but that really sucks, and you should become a little more informed. Thank you. Now we're going to go over to Reverend Wayne S. Pierce, my good buddy, my pal, my man at Liberty and Freedom Radio Network. Yes, Liberty, Freedom Radio Network. And the good Reverend has provided me actually with a promo for his show tonight, which I'll be playing at the end of the next commercial break, so stay tuned for that. But he's got some very important points that he raises on this whole issue as well. For one, he says that Australia has undergone a gun ban. And for those of you in the know, great, but a lot of you aren't in the know here in the United States, that Canada and Australia both share essentially the exact same form of government in Parliament. And it's pretty much the same, i.e. British Commonwealth, same. So their systems of government work essentially the same. And Australia actually has undergone a gun ban across the board. And this happened actually 2 years ago. And since that time, we have some statistics in which the good Reverend thought that you all may find a little interesting. For example, since the gun ban in Australia, in the last year and a half, armed robberies are up 69%. Fact. Oh, and here's a good one, too. Assaults with guns is up 28%. Interesting. Gun murders, specifically murders carried out with a gun, are up 19% from what they were before they instituted their gun ban. And bringing up the rear is good old home invasions are up 21%. Wow. Up 21%. Home invasions. Now, you have to look at those statistics and, well, multiply the population by 10, increase those instances by the factor of 10, and then come up with the American numbers if we were to ban everything. But we're not going to do that. No, we're not, because later in the show, I'm going to tell you what everyone from police officers on the street to investigative detectives to Federal Bureau of Investigation officers and United States Marines have to say about if the president were to issue an order tomorrow to rid the streets of legal weapons. It's going to be it's going to be an eye-opener for you. I'll just put it that way and leave it there. We're going to go for a 2-minute break. We'll be right back.
When you have cable and can't record all your shows,